Hello everyone, and welcome once again to my channel, where everything you are about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. As I mentioned in my last video, this week I'm going to be doing a top 10, more precisely a top 10 on the best episodes of LEXX. I should add a quick disclaimer here, namely this top 10 is entirely my opinion. The episodes in it, as well as their ranking, is simply what I think about it, and I do try to be as objective as possible. Or at least I try to be. But whether or not I succeeded, I can't really say. I'll leave that up to you to decide. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, even if you don't agree with my with my placements or with anything I say about these episodes. Before I get into the list proper, I first want to get some mentions out of the way, as in some episodes I think are still noteworthy even though they're not among the 10 best. I'll start with a dishonorable mention, aka the episode that I think is the worst of the series, and to the surprise of no one within the LEXX fandom, my dishonorable mention is Season 2, Episode 17, The Net. It's basically a repeat of the last episode, except told from the villain's point of view. While on its own it isn't really particularly bad, when you look at it within the context of the larger season, it's really kind of pointless. So, for that reason, this episode is the worst, and it's the dishonorable mention. I also have 4 honorable mentions I want to go through. First up, Season 2, Episode 12, Norb, which sees our characters confront the big bad for the first time. That actual confrontation only actually occurs at the end of the episode. Most of the rest of the episode is spent fighting off his what should I call it? Weaponry, arsenal, equipment, and it is a pretty good gauge of exactly what kind of threat he presents, and therefore what they will be and therefore what they will have to go up against. Next up, among the honorable mentions, is Season 3, Episode 3, Game Town, where we get a slightly more in-depth exploration of the setting of the twin planets Fire and Water and what characterizes each of them. And we also see how the main characters themselves, their arrival, changes the power dynamics within this society, within this war in stasis that these 2 planets are waging. Next up, again from Season 3, Episode 12, The Beach. One of 2 trial episodes that occur over the course of the series, and funnily enough, both of them involve Stan, the captain of the titular LEXX, with the big bad of the season acting not as judge, but as prosecutor, funnily enough. This episode is more or less a clip show. However, I will applaud for the way it uses its setting to establish once again that our characters are not necessarily heroic, and also for the fact that it manages to humanize the big bad, managing to actually make him seem somewhat merciful, which is somewhat bizarre, but somewhat to be expected actually from this show. And finally, the last honorable mention, Season 4, Episode 22, Trip, which is in many ways the last major aesthetic-driven episode of LEXX. One that makes you and the characters question what is real, and also the fact that these actors have portrayed these characters for so long that they know them inside and out, and seeing them play these characters as crazy people is quite enjoyable, not gonna lie. With that out of the way, let's get into the actual top 10 now. At number 10, Season 1, Episode 1, I Worship His Shadow. One of 4 episodes I mentioned in my last video, and I'll just let you know, all the episodes I mentioned there also come up here, because they are in many ways good representations of what this series is like. And a lot of what makes this episode good is actually, I've actually already mentioned in my overview, so I'll just quickly repeat it here. It's a good barometer of for how much you will enjoy the rest of the show. It does a lot of things when it comes to establishing character dynamics and world build within its time. And I will, however, add that the set design looks absolutely tremendous. Even though it is to some extent obviously cheap, it also very much establishes its vibe and sets the mood that everything else about the story reinforces, and it makes it very interesting, very intriguing. And therefore, I think it is among the 10 best episodes of the series. At number 9, we jump from right at the beginning of the show to almost right at the end. Season 4, Episode 15, Mort. The plot of this episode is based on Bride of Reanimator, which in turn is based on a Lovecraft story. And it is kind of weird that this show that is really based around taking space travel sci-fi conventions and turning them on their head doesn't really rely a bit more on Lovecraft. But I will say I'm happy with what we've seen so far of LEXX based on Lovecraft. The main plot, like I said, it's Bride of Reanimator, but what really distinguishes this episode is the way our main characters interact with the other characters of this episode, with regards to their attitudes towards death. It is a very domestic type of dark humor, and I will say a lot of it is done very well, very enjoyably. It is arguably very fun. That is one thing that makes this episode somewhat memorable. What pushes it over the edge, though, is the ending, which is exactly the kind of fatalistic nihilism that runs throughout the entire show. And I won't spoil it, but it is so in keeping with everything. It's kind of a joy to behold. At number 8, staying in season 4, going a bit later, season 4, episode 18, The Game. This episode focuses on a chess game between Kai, one of the main characters, and Prince, the big bad of season 3, who somehow stuck around for season 4. Loosely based on the Seventh Seal, the game itself is an actual game, as in it's based on an actual historical chess game, and a lot of its flow and also its effects outside of the game are kind of interesting. But what really distinguishes this episode is the fact that all pieces are based off, are to some extent based on characters from within the setting, and seeing these characters interact as chess pieces is funny as all hell. Not gonna lie, and I very much enjoyed watching this episode for this reason. At number 7, we have season 2, episode 9, 791. I mentioned in the last episode that you could consider season 2 to be peak LEXX. Well, by that logic, I have to say 791 is one of its summits, because it is the one that most definitely showcases the kind of dark irreverence the creators have towards general conventions, and to some extent even the well-being of their characters. So, what is this episode about? Well, the crew of the LEXX encounter a ship that is somehow stranded on an inhospitable planet. They go there to figure out what it's about, and they find out that it's a prison ship where a riot broke out, and they are tormented by two of the survivors of the crash. Though most of the episode actually focuses only on the torment one of the survivors inflicts on two of the characters, and the sadistic glee said Tormentor gets from this exchange, which the audience is very much invited to also indulge in. The fact that the torment itself is also kind of funny, and the fact that this episode and the series itself really relies on a substantial degree of moral complexity. I to some extent, both characters involved also deserve it. Both main characters involved also deserve it. Really makes this episode as dark and as funny as it is. More so than it has any right to be, and it is for a good reason one of the best comedic highlights of the series. At number 6, we go to Season 2, Episode 14, Patches in the Sky. By this point, the routine of LEXX is actually pretty well ingrained. The crew go to a strange new planet. Something weird happens. They escape, barely, with their lives, and then fly away to the next planet. And this routine is also played with here. But it does alter it in 2 significant ways. First up, the way the actual plot escalates its tension. This episode focuses on several characters fighting within a dream, or having conflict within a dream, and we focus on how the characters fight both within the dream and outside the dream, trying to figure out the apparatus by which the actual dream conflict can occur. And not gonna lie, a lot of the plotting and the pacing that goes into making this episode as memorable as it is very well done, and it is very believable. It is a testament to the great world building that this series employs. Excuse me a bit. So, yeah. And the second way this episode kind of breaks through that mold is that by the end, when we're actually supposed to be on a downtime, the episode instead escalates this tension by bringing in evidence of the influence the big bad has over the entire setting. Therefore leaving you with a very strong, lingering uncertainty regarding the ultimate fate of the characters and what the plan is supposed to be going forward. Not gonna lie, I think that lingering uncertainty is what really made me want to tune into LEXX and want to follow through all of it when I first watched it. And I will say everything about this episode, even though it doesn't really lead up to that, very much utilizes that. Very much has been very much built up towards where that is as impactful as it is. And for that reason, it deserves, I say it deserves its number 6 spot. At number 5, we get Season 3, Episode 13, Heaven and Hell. This is the finale of Season 3, so I won't go too much into spoilers because a lot of it relies on what came before it. Suffice it to say, this is the episode where the mystery surrounding the fire and water, the 2 planets the ship is orbiting, finally gets finally gets addressed, and we also get to see the dramatic dimensions of this conflict and the impact it has. And then watching the characters break that conflict to some extent is very enjoyable, and it is something I had a lot of joy, or I took a lot of enjoyment out of. For that reason, this episode deserves its number 5 slot. At number 4, another season finale, Season 2, Episode 20, End of the Universe. Because, again, this is a finale, I'll keep talking about it short. Suffice it to say, this episode pretty much concludes the largest scale possible storyline of David and Goliath, and manages to make the final confrontation between the big bad and the heroes seem believable, even though the big bad makes it perfectly obvious that he's not really deliberately holding back. He is taking them as seriously as they deserve, and also it showcases how each of these how each character within the main crew is capable of assisting within this setting. All of them get their moment to shine within this episode, and also it is very well plotted. There are lots of narrative twists and turns, and the way the stakes develop and change throughout the course of the story are absolutely amazing, and I can't help but admire it for that specific reason. At number 3, we're going from a very large scale storyline to a very large scale storyline and episode to a very small scale storyline and episode. Season 3, Episode 5, Gondola. To my surprise, this one actually made it as high up as it did. When I first made this list, I didn't even think it would be on this list. But well, look at that. It's the little episode it could. This episode is up here because for one, it brings further clues when it comes to resolving the mystery of what makes these two worlds, what makes the two planets, fire and water, work, and it gives us some idea towards what defines them. And also it showcases some of our main characters, some villains, and some side characters, and how they interact when they are brought together in mortal peril. This episode is in many ways emblematic of season 3 because it challenges the characters in ways they haven't exactly been challenged so far, and it also showcases how they deal with this level of threat, as well as how other characters manage their surroundings and manage the dangers they find themselves in. For this reason, this episode gets a number 3 spot. The number 2 spot goes to season 4, episode 12, Yo Way Yo. Another season finale, and this time also the series finale. The title is a reference to an in-universe battle cry, and it is very much emblematic for this particular episode, because it is, like I said last time, an action-packed climax with a lot of narrative twists and turns, which also delivers on a lot of very compelling and very strong character drama. Particularly, it I'll say finally closes out the character arc that has been building around Stan throughout this entire series. I won't go into details on that, but suffice it to say that the moment where he finally snaps over and completes his character journey is easily among the best moments in the entire series. And then the actual ending and how it hits, how the last sort of 2 to 5 minutes come across, that's effective, and it manages to actually take this the fact that it manages to take this very dark setting and storyline and give it somewhat of a happy ending is absolutely astounding. Not to mention the fact that this happy ending still works and is still narratively effective by pretty much any means you could think of. And I can't help but say it is a very effective finale and an overall very effective episode. It is the highest ranked on IMDb for a reason, but it is not the episode I personally think is the best. That honor goes to number 1, season 2, episode 18, Brigadoon. Incidentally, this is the second highest rated episode on IMDb. However, I think it edges out the series finale. And just like the series finale, I also mentioned it in that video, in the last video, the overview video. The point here is that the main characters go into a theater building and find out that there is a play ongoing about the life of Kai, and within this play we explore Kai's backstory as well as the backstory of his people, and that turns out to be very important because it really gives the best understanding of the mythology and of the mythos, the backstory for the entire series. More so than pretty much any other episode, and more so than I'll say it's among the best examples of creative exposition in any form of fiction. It also has the added benefit of laying the groundwork for Stan's character arc. When I said finally caps out in the series finale, well, one of its most important steps actually occurs in this episode as a consequence of the events of this episode. Therefore, for this reason and many others, it is from a mythos standpoint, it is very important. From a storytelling standpoint, the storytelling is within the actual both within the actual play and within the actual episode is very engaging and very well done. Its consequences are also very important going forward, and also both for the season arc and for the characters themselves, and also the aesthetic is very well defined. It is unique, and it is memorable, and it really, I'll say, contributes to what makes what characterizes LEXX as the defining TV series that it actually is. For this reason and many others, it is the best LEXX episode. And yeah, that was all I had to say about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then go ahead and leave a like. I might come back to doing another LEXX video if I find there is something else I could talk about. But until then, I'll do something else. I'll see what. Maybe you can maybe you can suggest something in the comment section. Or if you have anything else you want to you want to add in the comment section, then go ahead. I look forward to seeing that. And if my presentation in general has made you at least curious to see what else I have up my sleeves or in store for the future, then I suggest you go ahead and subscribe. Maybe also ring the bell so you get notified. Until then, however, once again, thank you for your attention, and I have been the One Take Man.